fabulous at the piping thing, and so I was roped into doing it. So we'll make a start, and hopefully it won't turn out too badly. I have done some lace work on the pieces up the back there that I've put there. On the carriage, there's some lace work on the carriage, and the other two things are just what you can do with piping and flood work. So Pam has said in her notes to bring an O, which looks like this. The O's are really hard to come by, and this is considered old school O's.
I've got a couple of them, I think.
The other thing that's really hard to find is the couplings to go with these. So if you come across them sometimes at antique shows or fairs or things like that, you might be able to get a whole box of the old icing things to get an O. Not my choice. I cannot use it. It will not work for me any way, shape or form. So I will not be demonstrating an O. You'll leave that to Pam for another day.
Yeah, I got an O from the party hat yesterday.
Oh, did you? Because these ones are the other ones that you can get that come with the...
Oh, a double O.
the
I've got a double O.
Yeah, that too.
O and a double O.
Yeah, they come in
A
all
while
different.
since I've
Oh dear Lord.
done
Okay.
it.
Yes.
While since I've done it.
Not
What
my
have you got?
idea of
You've
fun
got
at all
double O?
for
No,
those ones.
triple O. Well done.
Yeah, triple O. Oh Lord.
Well
Okay,
done.
I'm doing that.
So,
That's too hard.
Pam sent out the instructions on how to do the flower and to put it on a board and things like that. So I'm going to show you. My mother-in-law had all these spare, and there's these spare. If you want to take them home, go for it, because I only actually need one. You could actually use these to practice on. You can put a bit of Crisco on it, and that'll help that when you need to peel these off later, the lace work, you can peel it off easier. Or you can use... Yeah, Kofa would work as well. Or you can just use these for practicing, because you're going to need to practice. It's all about practicing. It's not about, oh yeah, one go and it's perfect. No.
Yeah.
And the lace work, you'll need 100 of them because they break.
Oh,
And you
God, yes.
pick them up and you slide them off your thing here. And as you're sliding it, it'll break off.
Oh, no.
Try the next one, and you might get it off, and you put it in your fingers, and you go to stick it on the cake, and it'll shatter. So you're going to need hundreds.
They drop on
5
the floor.
times more.
Yeah.
than what you want.
Yep.
This sounds like a nervous breakdown waiting to happen. It is.
And tweezers seem to be
What? Tweezers are
too hard
too hard.
hanging on to them because they're so fine. Tweezers are just too hard. So it's fingers or nothing at all.
Hey, Melanie, I thought
And a
all that
thumbnail
lace
is really
work and stuff
handy.
had gone out.
Well,
coming
it's
back again?
slowly coming back.
It
It's not
is,
going to come back in the way that church is. Or I'll show you another picture later of what my grandfather was doing when he was cake decorating. So that stuff's not going to come back. And most of the people today don't even know what it is. So you need your royal icing to be a fairly a fairly stiff consistency, so that when you're piping, it'll hang. Okay. You can all come around behind me if you want to watch, so you can see better, because I can't. I'm not a teacher. I can't do it upright. So one way you can do this is trace the outline, and you can do it in just a straight line. And the idea is, I'm using a 1 tube, which is probably a bit small. You could probably do this a second time. We will. So yeah, you can use a thicker one. I was just looking at the pattern thinking that maybe a 1 was better, but then you're going to use your brush. Now you can pick which brush you want to use. You can use it flat, or you can use the side to brush it in. So it just needs to be a little bit damp. Using the side, we're not actually taking the whole outside bit in. You're only grabbing a little bit and dragging it towards you. And you can just keep dragging it in another way you could do it. I'm just going to change tips because the one is.
Oh, Melanie, I was asked to put in an apology for Kay.
Okay. So another way you can do it is you can do a zigzag, which will give you a thicker edge. And this time I use the flat. And you just keep doing that all the way for each petal. It's better, don't trace it all out with your icing and then come back because you won't be able to do it, it'll set. So depending on how much you actually want dragged back in is depending on how you use your brush.
The first one was the edge of the brush.
The
Yes.
edge with the fine tip.
Mm. And my brush might have been a bit wet for the second one.
That's lovely.
So you can do all sorts of designs with it. You can colour your icing. This design is probably a fairly complicated one to start with. You could use a pansy or something like that to start with, where it's only got a smaller amount of petals to get to. The leaves on this one, you could do a thicker, you could do a 3 tube or something like that for the leaves and do the same thing with the leaves. But because they're bigger, you could get away with using a bigger tube. And the piping is how you hold the piping bag is what's comfortable for you. There's many ways of doing it. Some hold it like a pencil. Some I can't do that. This is how I do it. So.
I needed the biggest one.
So there's a leaf.
It's good.
So you can do many things. You can cover a whole cake doing this. You can cover just a section of a cake. You can just do, if you really want to do it, you can do cupcakes. So you can put it on the top of cupcakes as well. So when you get to the centre of your flower, this flower's got little dots in the centre. So you can add your little icing dots and then add the cashew dots or glitter or anything that you wanted to add to that. So that's that one, just roughly. And I have an issue because my hands are so hot that my...
It's a bit warm in there.
So I get hot hands, so I have all of the stuff come off from my piping bag. So buttercream, I was looking at a YouTube thing this morning, so if there's anything that you want to look at, you want to view it again, YouTube is a great place to go to looking for stuff. So there was this morning YouTube I was looking at, and someone said on there that you can use buttercream as well to do the brushed embroidery. I haven't tried that, but buttercream is all in, so you could give it a go. I saw also you can do it on biscuits, you can do all sorts of things. So the shapes that you do is only limited to what you want to do. There was a nice biscuit heart shape this morning that I was watching, so they'd actually done the outside, well, got your biscuit heart shape, and then probably a centimetre, because it was a fairly big biscuit, done a centimetre in, and they've just brushed embroidered. So they put the outside lining in on the heart and brushed in, and then they flood worked the whole centre of the heart. And that was on a biscuit. So whatever you can do for biscuits, you can do for cakes.
That's an awful lot of work for biscuits.
Yes.
It's too much work. Even making biscuits is a big job. I always make happy jam drops for a birthday present.